Yo! What's up, toy and comic fans? This is Romel with Toe's Toy and Comic Destinations. Welcome to my channel, where I combine my love of toys, comics, pop culture, and traveling. My wife and I traveled a lot before the pandemic. We've been to the Philippines, Maldives, Dubai, England, France, just to name a few. Therefore, my main focus for my channel is sharing my experiences with the local shop that I visit. My wife and I recently bought a vacation home here in Florida, more specifically Panama City Beach, Florida. So I figured, hey, why not? This would be a great starting point for my channel. So I found 2 local comic book shops in the area. So come on, let's go check it out. Been raining here all week in Florida, but today it's a nice sunny day, so I decided to make a quick pit stop. So here we are, my first stop, Comic Emporium here in Panama City, Florida. Hey guys, so I'm inside here at Comic Emporium. Greg? Greg?
That's me.
Are you the owner?
I am.
Awesome. He has graciously agreed enough to interview me because not too many comic book places let me record. So you will be my first one.
I'm honored.
Awesome. So I just have a couple of questions for you. So how long have you been here?
We've been in business for almost 22 years. We've been in this location for about 2.5 years since the hurricane. We were up the road a little bit further for about 19 years until we were forcibly relocated. But we really like our new location. We've had a lot of fun with it, and we've got some themed gaming areas that we're pretty proud of.
Oh, okay, that's cool. So I recently moved, not moved, I bought a house here. So I'm just checking out the area, finding out my local comic book shop.
Well, I'm glad you found us.
Nice. Awesome. And you said Hurricane, was that the 2018 one?
Yeah. Hurricane Michael.
Hurricane
October
Michael.
10th, 2018, coming up on the third anniversary now.
Oh my gosh. Wasn't that the one that hit the Bahamas too? Or was that a
No,
different one?
no, but it wasn't long after that. But no, it was a 160-mile-an-hour
Wow.
tornado that sat on top of us for an hour and destroyed about 70% of the buildings in Bay County. They were completely uninhabitable,
Oh my goodness.
including Comic Emporium, unfortunately.
Wow, that's too bad. I know you mentioned about your name. How did you come up with your name?
We're Comic Emporium, and our mascot is Fanboy, the comic imp. He's a little blue imp, and we've remembered him, named our one of our gaming areas after him. We call it the Grinning Imp Tavern. It's themed up in like a medieval tavern style.
We're gonna go in there later.
Down the hallway is the Game Cave, which is full of Warhammer players right now.
Oh yeah, yeah, maybe I won't. I don't want to disturb them.
They're good people.
They're good. Oh, okay, cool, cool. I noticed the pictures of the comic book man, all the signatures. Did they come here?
One of my comic subscribers, his brother-in-law, his wife's brother, was a regular on the show. Fred. Fred was always bringing stuff into the shop for him to look at and show off, and selling it the next day on eBay, but as seen on Comic Book Man. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that show.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Yeah.
I've never had
Great setup.
anyone, offer to sell me the original Batmobile. So,
Oh, I remember that
take it with a
episode.
grain of salt.
Yeah, I remember that episode.
Unreality TV.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I know how that goes. Since I'm in California, I do have a friend who's in the business, so I know how that goes. Your back issue, I'd like to commend you on your back issue drawers.
Oh, well, yeah, that's actually a recent addition. We're still a work in progress, and we always will be. But yeah, we've gone through from the old worn out cardboard comic boxes to a filing cabinet system, which keeps them a lot better organized, gives us a lot more space. It helps to keep them in order because you're not as likely to drop them back in the wrong box.
Exactly. That's what I was about to say. They're in numerical order too, which is amazing. I love it.
I love it when people ask me, why don't you have these in order by issue number? I'm like, why don't you try to get it back in the right drawer? Let's start with that.
Exactly, exactly. I know you're busy, so one last question is I noticed there's a sports card shop right there. Are you guys connected or?
We're friends and neighbors, and
Oh, okay.
actually, Bob, who one of the guys that runs sports cards over there, he was my first dungeon master in 1979. He introduced me to this world, and
Wow,
I
in
had a
seven-
story very similar to this. But yeah, we've known each other a long
A
time.
long time. When you say world, is it comic world or the gaming world
Um,
or everything?
Both.
Both?
I'm an equal opportunity nerd. I love it all. I really do. I may not be into the same things you're into, but I understand why you love it as much as I love my stuff. So.
Oh, I see, I see. Because I can relate. I started not too long after you. I started collecting comics in '83 when I was 10. Well, of course, when you're a kid, reader comics mainly, but I didn't start till maybe a year or two after that, where I found out about comic bags and boards and
Mm-hmm.
keeping them in nice shape. So cool. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Enjoyed
I
meeting
really
you.
appreciate it. It's a pleasure to meet you. Well, that was a great time visiting the shop. I'm going to be visiting this place a lot when I come here. On to the next. All right. Next stop and last stop is Arena Comics. Oh, nice shop, tucked away. So, guys, the owner of Arena Comics has agreed for an interview. So, go ahead, introduce yourself.
I am James Finlayson, the owner of Arena Comics and Gaming in Panama City, Florida.
Perfect. So, how long have you been here?
We've been open for coming up on 15 years now. January will make our 15th year in business. So.
15 year in business. That's pretty cool. Oh, I really like your setup.
Thank you. We've tried hard to make it, to break down that barrier to entry that some of the more, dyed in the wool, old school comic shops can be. Like I grew up in town going to the old school store that was, it wasn't very inviting to the uninitiated.
Right.
So there was kind of that barrier to entry to where you didn't feel like my mom always felt comfortable enough coming in with me, but she wouldn't go in on her own. She'd only that type of thing. So we wanted to make sure we had a little more of a welcoming feel as you came in.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I can understand that because I do not see the wall of the high-end comics or
Yeah, we've got higher end comics. We've had some issues though with our roof. The owners of the property still haven't quite got it fixed. That got heavily damaged 3 years ago in a hurricane, and it keeps popping up with leaks again. So when we had high dollar comics on the wall, we always had to worry about whether or not the roof was going to let anything. So we took them down. We just kind of have them set aside for anybody that might ask for them. We can definitely show
Oh,
them.
okay. That's cool. That was my next question.
Yeah.
But I did see some nice
There's
ones
one
on the
spinner
rack.
rack that we have
the spin
with
rack.
some on them. Yeah.
And I love that old school spin rack.
Yeah, I started shopping, buying my own comics when I was a very young man, 1975. The very first time I had my own allowance money, I'd had comics because my parents or my aunt or uncle would give them to me. But my very first comic I got to buy on my own money,
Yeah.
And it was at a grocery store. It was Avengers number 167 by Steve Englehart.
Wow.
And those guys. Steve Englehart wrote that book. It was Wanda's on the cover, she's holding the serpent crown, and Vision's kind of protecting her, and you got Thor and the guys in the background about to stand off with the Squadron Sinister. It was really it hooked you in quick.
Yeah. Yeah, you say 1975. You still look young.
Yeah, well, I
Back
turned,
in the day.
I turned 53 this year, so I was a very young man. But yeah, and right next to it was a drugstore with a spinner rack, and I always bought books off the spinner rack too. So I'm an old school fan of the spinner rack. I can't
here.
not have one.
That reminds me of 7-Eleven. That's what I had it where I grew up.
Any convenience store, you name it, they had one, and you go, what I mean, of all places for me to be buying Frank Miller's run of Daredevil was off the spinner racks at an Eckerd drugstore.
Wow. Eckerd. That's so cool, man. So my last question, I know you're busy,
Yeah,
so
fine,
I just
fine,
have one more question just to ask you. So how's business going?
It has been a really good year.
Oh, good.
I'm very thankful for what we've had happen. There's been a lot of popularity driving a lot of the things that we offer. Pokemon, as I'm sure you've encountered elsewhere, is very hard to even keep on the shelf, let alone find. But every time we get product in, it sells through quickly.
Oh,
The
good.
Digimon offering that they put out was good too. My comics have been still moving really well. We've got some folks now that are coming in actually special ordering trade paperbacks of stuff that they're either seeing online or seeing in a streaming from whatever service they're using.
Right.
And it's just been very beneficial.
That's
a very great year for us. Yeah.
That's awesome. So it's nice to see that the comic book industry is very strong. I mean, it's the same thing in
Yeah.
California. That's where I'm from.
Yeah,
So
it's been tricky. You've had a lot of publishers swapping distributors, which has made it kind of interesting, making sure you get all your orders in and have enough coverages for everyone. But once you work the system out, it goes pretty well. So
oh, that's good. That's good. So I'll leave you at it.
okay,
It's a
absolutely.
great
It's a pleasure
to
meeting
meet you, and thank you for the interview.
Oh, you're very welcome.